morning. Uh, I was going to be here, and she writes for the Palm Springs Life, and it's just, anyway, we've got flyers out there, so please join. She's going to be talking about planets and the shift, and I don't know what all. She does astrology, so she'll be here Wednesday. Dale's not having her Sacred Circle this Thursday, so please don't show up. You'll be the only one here. And, this Saturday, I am having a spiritual mind treatment workshop. So if you want to learn the power of prayer, how to really pray effectively, it's more than just the steps. It's really a consciousness shift that you need to have. And so please join me. We'll be here in the sanctuary from 9 to 12:30. It's a love offering. You'll get a little packet on how to write spiritual mind treatments. We'll be doing that. So please join me for that. Please sign up so I know how many people. And I'm going to turn this over to Laura Meeks. She's going to tell you all about this wonderful Halloween party.
Hey, everybody. My name is Laura Meeks. How are you? On Saturday, we are going to have a chance for you to practice your spirituality. One of the things, if you want a perfect relationship, this came to me as I was reading these notes. If you want to have a perfect relationship, you actually have to meet some other people. So on behalf of Rainbow Alliance, we offer a chance to meet other people and to let you know is the best food around. Those of you who have been to my house realize that I have a field behind me. So if you arrive, then we have plenty of parking for you at the house. So it's right off of Frank Sinatra. So you just come in. We've got it all decorated and we're ready to go. And the cool thing is that many of your spiritual leaders might be there and you could actually interact with them. So I invite you all. Great food, great fun. Come on out to Halloween. Oh, and if you feel like dressing up, I will be Cinderella. Other people will dress up. You don't have to dress up, but it is fun to be there with your other congregants. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, dress up as the real you, right? In November, it will be coming. We'll have the Science of Mind magazine featuring Dr. Joe. Has a beautiful article in there, and they'll be available in the bookstore. I'm not sure. I believe they're there right now, too. And I think that's it. Is that it? Oh, and our pumpkins, did you see them? And after the service, there'll be even more. So please, you don't need to bring any more pumpkins. Just start buying them. Just start buying them and taking them home so you can decorate your home for Halloween. So there'll be more out there. Probably not for your service, but the next service, and for sure next week. So they're doing a great job, and they're having a lot of fun. And thank all of you who brought in pumpkins. That was so appreciated. And you brought the perfect sizes and everything. So thank you so much. So today we have our CSL choir to sing for us, and we are so excited. So let's give them an applause. Warm welcome.
We're going to do a little song for you from the musical Godspell.
1, 2, 3, and...
You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. When you lights under a bushel, then it's called something crucial. Ha! To stay bright, to be the light of the world. You are the song of the earth. You are the song of the earth. But if this song has lost its flavor, it ain't got too much favor. You can never more than be the song of the earth. So let your light so shine before men. Let your light so shine. Everybody knows kindness again. We all need help to feel fine. Let's have some wine. Woo! You are the city of God. You are the city of God.
right, good morning, everyone. Let's hear for that choir and our band this morning, yeah? Welcome. So you ready to go to work? I am too. Let's do some spiritual work. Take a deep breath in, close your eyes, sit up straight, and exhale. Make sure your chin is pointed up just a little bit, not down on your chest, but pointed up. Uncross your legs, uncross your arms, become open and receptive to that which needs to flow through you. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. So in this moment, I want you to do a mental inventory. A mental inventory of the things that you would like to forgive, possibly forget. A mental inventory of the things that you sort of point at as the obstacles standing in the way to your good. I'd like you to think about conversations you've had with people that have, let's say, just been a little bit confrontational. Didn't necessarily leave on the best possible terms. And now let's understand that for us to move on and to evolve into that greater spiritual being, it's situations just like those that we need to heal, that we need to release and let go. Who would you be if you released your fear, your anger, your resentment? What could you become? Take a deep breath in. All to Spirit I surrender. All to Thee I freely give. I will always love and trust You. In Your presence daily live. All to Spirit I surrender. All that's good is wholly mine. In Your presence, in this oneness, through You I am power divine, and I surrender all. I surrender all. All to Thee, my blessed Spirit, I surrender all.
As we breathe in the very breath of life, knowing that God is oneness and wholeness and connection and love and light and joy, that the very sunlight that we feel on our faces every day is God touching us. That the beauty of the flowers, of the trees, of the wind, of the breeze, of the birds, that oneness and wholeness is God expressing. And that we are connected to that one, to everything we see, everything we smell, everything we hear, that divine relationship that we have to the one is so precious and so joyful. And I know that beautiful connection, that love, that joy, that wholeness, that oneness that bubbles up inside of us when we think of it, when we see it, when we feel it, is God expressing individually as each one of us in the world. And that wholeness and that oneness is what we bring to the beauty of everyone, to every other, to every family member, to every beautiful person we encounter, to every beautiful bird, every beautiful animal, everything on this planet. And I am so happy and grateful that I know today that I can let go of everything that stands in my way of being the one. I let it go, and we let God. And we know this together by saying, and so it is.
I surrender all. I surrender. Let's take a deep breath in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, get ready. Relationship. How many of you are perfect? How many individuals here are absolutely perfect? So I assume that whoever is perfect has the perfect relationship, right? Because if you express what you are, who you are in relationship, if you're perfect, then you probably have the perfect relationship. And then there's the rest of us, right? There's the rest of us. So we're going to talk about that today. As the thing itself is infinite, the possibilities for the perfect relationship are infinite. So when you look at that, in fact, this whole talk came about because I guess the other day I said something about relationships in the middle of a talk, and someone said, why don't you do a talk about relationships? So I'm thinking, okay, so this is my attempt to do that for you guys. So as the thing itself is infinite, the possibilities for the perfect relationship are also infinite. So understand that when you're having a relationship with anyone, a friendship, any kind of communication with another person, any kind of connection with the person, no matter how great or no matter how superficial, you're in relationship with the infinite. You see the infinite as an individual right across from you, but you're actually in relationship with the infinite. Why is that? Because if every person is made in the image and likeness of the infinite, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it, then I'm actually engaged in having a relationship with you when we're communing with one another. So on whatever level, I have to remember that truly you are that infinite intelligence working by means of you to the best of your ability at the level of your belief. Now, because of that, that means we have an infinite number of possibilities to be in relationship with one another, in friendships, and working relationships, whatever they are. We are constantly in relationship with people. I mean, whether you want to think about it in those terms, we are constantly, and I do say constantly, whenever we go out into public, we're in relationship with other people. If you drive your car, you are in a relationship with the person in the car next to you. If you don't think so, try violating their space. Right? You'll find out what a great relationship you may have, and also that you may understand certain types of sign language. So we are in constant relationship with people. The following are some ideas to try on. Look at that. These are just try-on ideas. I am certainly not a relationship expert. Far from it. Yeah. But these are just some ideas, some spiritual ideas that I got from Dr. Ernest Holmes and some other people. And I just try them on like you would a pair of shoes. Take them out for a spin. Let them ride, right? If they don't fit, come back next week. We'll give you another pair. All right? But for right now, I just want you to try this. Dr. Holmes said, it's been said that we can know God only so far as we can become God. We can know God only so far as we can become God. And every one of us is on a spiritual relationship to becoming more of ourselves. When we become more of ourselves, obviously we're becoming more of the very stuff that created us. As we dive deeper into our own spiritualities, we dive deeper into our own emotions and everything else, we have become more at one with the one itself. Because of that, when that happens, we are able to now deepen our relationships with other people to the depths that we have also driven ourselves. Does that make sense? So in other words, as deep as I can go, it will allow me to go as deep with you. Does that make sense? So if I'm not real into any of this kind of spiritual evolution stuff, I may not be able to have that kind of conversation. Does anyone ever have conflict because you're on this spiritual quest and the people around you are not? Yeah, and you kind of look at them going, how can you not do this? Don't you understand? This is so important to you. Don't you understand? This is so important to you, I tell you. Do you follow what I'm trying to say here? You're trying to tell them how it's important to them that they do this, and they're looking at you going, no, I'd rather have oatmeal. Gotta go. Right? So that means at a certain level, you're probably going to reach a point in the friendship where this is kind of where it's going to be at. And you get to settle into that. And you can either reconcile with that or you can spend your whole time trying to shift them. How many people have spent a lot of time trying to shift another person to catch up with you? Anybody? Yeah. How effective is that? Not effective at all. You usually are sitting alone at Denny's having dinner at 8:30, right? It's something that just happens when that happens. Next thing you know, you're just not even in compliance there, all right? So, hey, before we go, I want to thank Gary for doing the AIDS walk yesterday. I don't know if you'd mentioned it. Yeah, Gary did the AIDS walk yesterday. We raised our goal of $2,000, yep, and we had people stop by the booth. It was really great. What's that? $2,165 went into the DFP. So that's great. Thank you, Gary. I meant to acknowledge you on that. Dr. Holmes said that, are you ready? Are you ready? Brace yourself because you're about to see yourself. I love this part. If one sees only unloveliness in others, it's because unloveliness is a strong element in himself. The light he throws on others is generated in his own soul and sees them as he chooses to see them. I would say this, the light as well as the shade. For those of you who are in a different generation, there's a new term. When someone gives you attitude or talks down to you, they're giving you shade. I just learned this. Yeah. I'm so on top of it, right? I'm like, someone said, you're certainly dishing a lot of shade. I'm like, what? I don't get that. I said, I dish shade? Lights and other shade? How we actually sometimes are throwing our own shade and not our best light. So when I said earlier today, and before we went into meditation, is there a place that you've had a conversation with someone that didn't end so well, or you're feeling uncomfortable, or there's a place where forgiveness needs to take place? Think about those things kind of reside in a shady place. Shady business, if you will. And we need to move the light onto it. And so in order for us to maintain a healthy relationship, we've got to decide no more shade, only light. Does that make sense? All right. Dr. Ernest Holmes was talking about if the philosophy of Christianity were lived, wars would cease, unhappiness would cease, economic problems would be solved, poverty would be wiped from the face of the earth, and man's inhumanity to man would be transmuted into a spirit of mutual helpfulness. In 1940s, this was written. So in 1940, someone was saying, you know what? If we followed what we call the philosophy of Christianity, which means nothing more than this: do unto others as you have others do unto you, unconditional love, unconditional support. That's all. Jesus, the master teacher, taught those things. Is it me? Sorry. Hang on. I'm having an ear problem. One of many. Okay, good. All right. When we look, you've heard me say this before, if you follow the teachings of Jesus the first 400 years after Jesus died, all right, historically speaking, we would be learning nothing more than healing and love energy. There was never condemnation. There was never judgment. But somewhere along the line, someone decided, let's take this document and spin it so I can control people, a.k.a. a king. Said, in order for me to control people, I need to spin this. So we took away what the essential teachings were, and we put them in the context of other things which may have a little shade around them. Some fear. Does that make sense? Okay. So if we were to stick with the philosophy of treating others as we would like to be treated, if we were to stick to the philosophy as, I'm not going to judge you, don't you judge me. If we were to stick to the philosophy as, I won't hurt you, you don't hurt me. If we were to stick to those philosophies that the universe has plenty and that it is a Father's good pleasure to give and give abundantly, what kind of world could we live in if we actually adhered to that particular philosophy? Think about all the things that would disappear, the fear-based, the shade things that would disappear if we all stepped forward into that idea and went into relationships with one another based on that type of philosophy. Now, when I say Christian, some of my friends that are that had a bad Christian experience or they're in a different religion, they tend to kind of get uncomfortable with the phraseology that don't get uncomfortable with the label. Look at what it is. Look at what it is. Look at what it means to be that. To not treat other people or to treat people without judgment, to treat people with love and respect. To allow everyone to grow to their fullest potential without trying to hold them down, because by holding them down, you're holding down your good is becoming greater because you're holding them down. This is insane that we're living in a world that happens now. Imagine what we could do. Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote that in 1940-something. Turning the other cheek is a phrase that refers to responding to an aggressor without violence. One should, if you're in a relationship with someone, sometimes it doesn't feel like you have any more cheeks to turn. Anybody? Have you ever felt like that? Like, I am out of cheeks. You've hit every one of them, right? But I also know that I have to find a place where one should never do wrong in return nor mistreat any man, no matter how one has been mistreated by him, right? You don't harm another because you've been harmed. You know, we've taken the golden rule, do unto others before they do it to you. Right? We've kind of twisted that around a little bit. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So in order to be in good relationship with one another, it's not a tit for tat, you did this to me, now me do this for you. It's you have to be able to stand in your own integrity and go, you know what? I'm a forgiving person. And actually practice it and not just say it. In order for you to be in a successful relationship in your businesses, in your homes, no matter what it is, one has to have these practices lined up because I don't know about you, but in my world, I am somewhat challenged pretty regularly when it comes to the dynamics of certain relationships. Usually my family, right? Number one, because everyone has expectations of one another and certainly years and years of past practice with one another. So it's one of those things that it's a daily spiritual practice to be able to stand in there and see it for what it is. And that's probably one of the biggest things that in relationships that I have to find is I have to really, one of the things that I counsel so many times, just because a person was this way in the past doesn't necessarily that they're going to be this way in the future. If you buy into that premise, then you yourself have to sit in the judgment of someone saying, well, you used to do this, so I'm not going to trust that you can do it differently. And then you're going to say, oh, but I'm going to the Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Desert. I'm a changed person. Yay. First of all, I'd be happy about that. But secondly, that other person's not going to be one. If you don't give that person a pass, how do you expect them to give you one? You may have all this transformation that's gone on in your life, but that other person may not have been a part of it. So we have to start looking at individual relationships as they are, as they stand in today's, without carrying all of the past baggage that goes with them. If you want to have a successful friendship or relationship, you have to be very flexible. I think of the term that Dr. Tom used to use. You have to be like Swiss cheese. It has to be flexible with lots of holes in it so that all different kind of plans can change. So that's the way I look at it. You have to be flexible. You have to and know that things are going to change, always. Relationships go through seasons. Sometimes they're bright and sunny, sometimes not so much. Be vigilant because good cycles return. You know, the abandoned ship signal, in my experience, has been given way too quickly in relationships. We've started to abandon ship way too quickly. It's become too easy to abandon ship in a lot of circumstances. And I think a lot of people, if you were just ride this phase out, if you and I are a phase of function of the universe in action, if we are a phase and function of who we are and what we're doing in our life and our life's phases, two people aren't constantly going to be synced up in the same phase. And so someone may change before the other person, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to sync back up again. It just means that they're in the middle of something. Don't abandon when you're at the middle. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. When it comes to good relationships, don't abandon in the middle. Give it a shot. Give it a season, if you will, and see if now if the changes exist for long periods of time, then obviously take a look at it. But many times we jump out just when the storm begins to hit because you go like this, I'm not walking through that again. No, Anybody? Yeah? Everybody? That's good. I said anybody, someone said everybody. So be vigilant, because we're going to talk about the next part. Is there such thing as a perfect marriage? Yes. Yes. But it probably is not in the same definition as you think the perfect marriage should exist. Everybody thinks the perfect marriage, you sit around and sing Kumbaya and have sex 5 times a day. Anybody? That you get along all the time and that you agree on every meal that's fixed and how whatever your designing tastes are like, oh, I just love the couch you picked out. Everything's perfect. You're just perfect. Anybody got one of those? Because if you do, can you lend them to somebody? Because we got to get a prototype on it. Does that mean everything goes right or your way or you're feeling romantic all the time? No. What it does mean is this: your marriage is perfect if you have the right attitude. And I don't mean that you think positively. It's not one of those Pollyanna, everything is beautiful. Every day I wake up with him and it's on away. No, I'm not talking about that kind of an approach to your relationship. I do mean that you live outwardly. When you do so, married life becomes perfect no matter what difficulties you're going through. When I say you live outwardly, you make yourself expressive and available and receptive and open. You're not always the one that says, I have to be right, you have to be wrong, or you have to be wrong and I have to be right. You're just in relationship, knowing that there's an ebb and flow, the cycles and all that to relationships. Is there a perfect marriage? Yeah, the perfect marriage is when both people go, I am really happy, and so am I. Do we get along all the time? No. But do we make it and go through whatever it is? Yes. We get through all of those things, and the goodness is still there. The basic foundation of love is there. Next thing, facing a dilemma. Has anyone ever had a facing dilemma where you go, I'm not in love with you anymore? Anybody? 6 people, good. We have a very small therapy group for that. Yeah, very small group. It's a challenge when you say to someone, I'm not in love with you anymore. Here we go. For 1 week, I want you to do something. If you're in a relationship and you've said, I just don't love this person anymore, we're going to do a 1-week experiment. And I can tell you that this works because I've seen it work several times. Now, you may think this is crazy, this is nuts, it's too superficial, it doesn't make sense. But if you think about how we develop habits in our life, you can develop a habit to be more loving. Here it is. For 1 week, pretend that you love them. Pretend. Just pretend. Fake it. Just fake it. Get into it. When you pass them at the dinner table, brush their shoulder. Put your hand on their arm while talking. Feeling follows behavior. Feeling follows action. So what you're going to find is, if I will start to engage. The problem is I'm not constant. So you can say, but I've tried. I've tried so hard. And I say, try again. This time, be consistent for 1 full week. Not a hit and miss when you feel like it, but consistent for 1 full week. This works with friendships and other relationships too, and without the touching part. Unless that's what you're into. If you're into that, then whatever. I don't judge. Don't stand in judgment. But be consistent. When you feel in a friendship, you have to be consistent. Be in a friendship, in a relationship, whatever it is, whatever type of relationship, be consistently engaged in knowing that it is a good thing. If you pick up the phone and you already know you dread picking up the phone, you probably are not going to have the best of experiences when you pick up that phone. You're already coloring it a certain way. So I would say this, give this thing a shot. Be a little more attentive. In fact, be a lot more attentive and do it for a whole week. And you're going to see an energy shift. Now, the other person doesn't even have to know that you are involved in the experiment itself. The best part about that is you just show up differently. How many times have you said in your life, oh, if that other person would just show up differently, everything would be okay? How many times have you said that? Has anyone never? If you've said that before, say amen. Okay, good. You know what that means? Now, if you show up differently and you bring a new energy, who's going to transform the energy? You are. You're not expecting someone else to. You're actually setting the stage and changing the vibration of it. Now, whether or not the person is receptive, that is not your problem. You bring the best you can. When you bring the best you, the frequency, the vibration is all subject to change, and you will have been the catalyst that will have created that. Does that make sense? All right, not married and you want to be? Anybody fall in that category? Not married and you want to be? Here are 4 criteria I use to establish whether to date somebody. Do you respect him or her? Do you admire? Do you support them? And finally, are you attracted to them? But the first one is, do you respect, admire, and support? Hey, let's face it. Looks come and go, just like hairlines. Right? And waistlines, Not necessarily the little 175-pound flight attendant with full head of hair that Trey met years ago. Poor Trey. All right. Poor Trey. Bless his heart. Okay, never mind. So these are the criteria. Also, I would say this, and I brought this up the other day. There's a paradigm for relationships that you have to recognize. There's a paradigm for relationships that maybe we need to review and look at. Things have drastically changed in the paradigm of relationships today. Not everything has to lead to the altar with a ring on it. Although J-Lo says if you want it, you got to put a ring on it, not necessarily so. You can have very deep relationships and connection. What? Beyonce, never mind. Oh my God, take away my gay card. I actually said J-Lo instead of Beyonce. Oh my God, really, seriously? That's the one thing they're gonna pick up and leave with today. Oh yeah, no, J-Lo, yeah. Didn't hear a thing outside of J-Lo. Getting back to the major point at hand, and not necessarily who wrote the song, thank you for that. Old paradigms don't have to be used in your new life. It's 2017, almost 2018. Relationships have changed. The types of relationships have shifted. You can be in a monogamous, live-together relationship if that's what you choose to do, or you can have friends, and you can travel with friends. And you can have friends, we call them with benefits even, You can have different types of relationships. They don't have to fit into the old quadrants of the past because let's face it, at certain phases of our life, I don't have a quadrant that would say I would want to get remarried again. I would want someone to love and to go travel with, but to train someone for 30 years? No. Or to have me be trained. I don't know who trained who, but whatever it is. To engage in that again? No. But I would certainly want to find someone in my life that I would have a connection with, that we could travel together, that we could laugh, and then you go off to your place and I go off to mine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's certain phases where people are like, suddenly they rewind back into what relationships should look like, and they try to force their kids and their family members and people they know into those boxes, and the boxes have changed. They've changed drastically, and we can say, well, that's not for the good. Well, who are you to say? All I can say is if you're happy and it's love, then love however it makes you happy. Don't hurt someone. Don't take your good off, don't steal your good from someone else. But be present and be fully present and be engaged in any type of relationship that makes you feel good and makes you happy. If it doesn't conform to an old paradigm, there's no requirement for it to do that other than your own pressure, and that can be taken off. Does that make sense? Whether the relationship on your mind is your personal, intimate one, or between colleagues at work, or the future relationship for that which you are training, here is some advice. Treat your spouse or friend or coworker as if you love them with your last breath, no matter how contrary to that you might feel at any one moment. This has been my spiritual practice for since June, whatever that is, since June. Because I've been in some confrontational situations in another place in my life, I've had to really look and make sure that my conversations and where I come from is from the breath of love. In fact, that's what I write about in the Science of Mind textbook. What is the answer to all the issues facing our world today and facing you and your life today? What is the answer? And there's only one word that exists that answers all things. And we have to come from it, we have to speak from it, we have to embody it, we have to spread it wherever we can, and that is just love. We have to come from love. It's so easy to get embattled in what goes on in the political level and what goes on in the world, but when we come from love and we speak from that place, no matter the relationship that you have, whether it is someone at the dry cleaner, the person who does your nails, your gardener, your pool boy, it doesn't matter who you're discussing this with. When one puts their words through the filter of love, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong by doing the love thing. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter who you're in relationship or what the dynamic of the relationship is. Make sure that your words are loving, which means no gossiping. Ooh, oh my God, what will we do over lunch? If we don't have these people to talk about, oh my God, what will we do? Come up with something else. Love also means integrity. Have integrity around your conversations. Integrity should be infused in every word that comes out of your mouth. If it doesn't belong, if other people want to have a conversation that's not in integrity, that's okay. You don't have to join in the conversation. That's why I have found myself many times recently, over the past probably year, sitting in silence at a dinner table, and people look at me like, what's up with Joe? Why is he not saying anything? Because when things go into a certain place, I feel the need to back out. I don't want to participate. So engage in place from love. Be that loving place. Think hard every day about how to make their life worth living. Think about what I can do to contribute to someone and make their day just a little bit different just with my transaction with them. Does that make sense? Be the kind of person you want to love, hug, come home to, and sacrifice for. Be that type of person, and again, if you are that, if you model that, then that will be attracted unto you. But if you aren't that first, don't expect someone to show up providing those benefits for you. You have to be that first, and then that attracts that person who's like that. So that's what we say, you have to be healed and whole within yourself, or however you are injured, you will attract someone with a similar type of energy into your life experience. Why? Not because they're going to fulfill you, it's because by the law of attraction, you attract what you are. So it is a law of attraction. It works 100%. If I am wounded, I will attract wounded. If I am loving, I will attract loving. If I'm loving and wounded, I will attract loving and wounded. Does this make sense? Finally, I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine. I know that this presence is all-knowing and all-power and is always right where I am. To be in relationship, this is a really good affirmation. So let's say it together, please. I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine. I know that this presence is all-knowing and all-power and is always right where I am. You're in the perfect relationship right now. Make yours even better and make those around you even better. So end your lesson. Thank you.
So I call our ushers forward. And please, as we prepare for our offering, really, I want you to get into that consciousness of giving. I want you to feel that gratitude. Your giving is a spiritual practice, and so I want you to really focus on that, and when you put your offering in the basket, just know that. Send it with love. And also, if you're putting in cash, please use the envelopes. Put your name on it so that we can identify who you are. And don't say, well, this isn't enough to be identified. No, it is. It is because you're giving from your heart and who you are. And those of you that are live streaming also, you can hit that donate button or you can text on the number on your screen. And please also join with us in this moment. So let's say our offertory prayer together. I give my offering with gratitude as I recognize the demonstration of Spirit's generosity in all areas of my life.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit.
So let's just hold up our hands and send our light and our love and our blessings to our offerings as we say our prayer together. This collective offering is spirit in action. As it circulates into the universe, it touches and blesses many lives, including my own. Thank you, Dale. All right, so at this time, I'd like to welcome our visitors. If you are here for the very first time, please stand. We want to welcome you, and we have a gift for you. Anybody? Come on, don't be. Oh, yes. Yay. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. So what we've just given you is a CD holder with information about our center. Please go to the front table out here, desk, and receive a CD of a couple of Dr. Joe's talks. And we welcome you. And if you're from the Valley, please come back. If you're visiting, enjoy yourself. We get to live in this paradise all year long, even when it's 125 degrees. Some of us get to have that privilege. Anyway, this is our prayer team, and they are over in the Ohm Room, which is the building next door. And if you are going through anything or you want to for gratitude or for more abundance, whatever it is in your life, please go over there and they will pray with you. They're called 1-minute miracles because they do happen here all the time. And don't forget everything that's going on this week. Don't forget Wednesday we have Ruth Ann over in the Ohm Room with her wisdom service. We have our Planet X. And there is no Sacred Circle Thursday, so I don't know why that's up there. But anyway, there's something here almost every day of the week. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Don't forget Reignite for those of you that are coming back that signed up for that. We'll be having lunch over in Costa Hall. So let's just take a deep breath in. Recognizing that one power, that one presence, that universal mind that each one of us is a part of. We are those divine expressions. And so we are in the perfect relationship. We are in a perfect alignment and relationship with ourselves. And so with that light that is within us, we attract like-minded people, people that shine the same light as us. And so we focus on ourselves. We focus on being that love, being that light, being that joy in every situation. And every relationship we have is special, and we recognize that, and we see the beauty and the perfection. They are different, but yet they are all based in love. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this relationship we have here with each other in this center, knowing that each person here is part of this spiritual community, an integral part. And so knowing that this is the truth, knowing that each light leaves here today and shines that love, that light everywhere they go, I say thank you, I let it be so, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. Have a wonderful week, everyone.